Part 10. The contemporary academic god is secretly a charlatan. Author, Luo Meyer. Chapter 91. Chapter 91 Collective Going to the Countryside. When Mu Qingjian left, Bai Yushin also rushed to the scene. Looking at the mess in front of him and her smell in the air, he knew that she had done all this. She then left the scene. It was ruined anyway, as long as she was happy. After she returned, she looked at the turned-off lights in the villa opposite. It seemed that he had been very busy recently. She flashed into the space, where the clean Dandan and Bingfen were playing around. After seeing her come in, he stood still obediently. "You guys go and have a rest. I will practice in space today." The two little guys stepped back obediently and did not disturb her practice. Dandan was eating the World of Warcraft crystal core. "You said, the master is so powerful, why is he still practicing so hard?" Bingfen gnawed on the spiritual plant. "The road to cultivating immortality is endless. Master is a strong man in this world. But there is a higher level above master. How can you become if you don't work hard to cultivate?" Dandan is puzzled. "It's not a good time now. Tell me, are there really gods in this world? There are hells and kings of in this world. Do you think there are immortals? Maybe the immortals are not in this world. It's hard to say. We won't know until the master cultivates to become a god. Anyway, I know that there is no world of immortality in this world. But there must be something in the divine world, and it is impossible for gods to perish. Dandan is still a baby that has just been born for less than half a year. Apart from inheriting its own race and cultivation techniques, it is not as well informed as the mythical beast Bingfen. After all, this old phoenix has lived for thousands of years. If Bingfen knew that Dandan said it was an old phoenix, it will definitely beat her until the owner doesn't recognize her. Although it is 1,000 years old, it is still a baby that has just hatched out of its shell. After practicing for a whole night, Mu Qingjian slowly opened her eyes and breathed out to recover her spiritual power. He took the two little guys out of the space and guided the three of them. After school, Bai Yushin did not come to class today, which made all the girls a little disappointed. She knew that he must be dealing with last night's affairs, and it was his fault for not being able to manage them well. Nu is his subordinate, and if he can't discipline him well, then don't blame yourself for educating him. Before school ended, the head teacher asked us to gather at school at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, and we were not allowed to be late. Everyone also went home and prepared their clothes for the 5 days. Who knew that this event would last for 5 days? But they are quite curious, and they have never been to remote mountain villages. So I'm quite looking forward to it. Most importantly, there are also female classmates. The morning of the next day, Mu Qingjian and Tanyuj walked to school carrying a large capacity travel bag. Zhang Xingrui looked at him with a red face and tears, and said in surprise, "Don't tell me, you two came from Bo's house." Tanyuj took out a towel from his bag to wipe off his sweat, and said breathlessly, "Yes. Master said he wanted to see how my strength was, so we ran to school. But it was quite tiring, but luckily I could hold on. Haha, I thought your master was not a human being, but I didn't expect that you are not a human being either. Hey, you guys have been running for dozens of kilometers, and you are blushing and sweating a little. And she, Mu Qingjian, is not blushing and out of breath. Yes, you are not normal people." Tanyuj patted him with a towel. "You are not a human being. How dare you scold me and my master?" Zhang Xingrui covered his head. "You don't look like a human being, and you still don't let me tell the truth." Yin Qingja stepped forward and said, "Let's go. Laoban asked me to get in the car." Mu Qingjian sat in a single seat, Yin Qingja and Yu Qingqing sat together, and Zhang Xingrui and Tanyuj had to sit together. They were very excited about going to the countryside for the first time, and they were all discussing what kind of countryside it was like. Mu Qingjian did not participate in their conversation, but closed her eyes to rest. Yinkinja and others thought she was motion sick, so they did not disturb her and let her continue sleeping. After driving for several hours, the car had arrived at the mountain village. Everyone looked at the ground, which had no cement road and was full of potholes. Because it was drizzling now, the ground was particularly slippery. As a result, the driver drove carefully and drove all the way, as if he was riding a trampoline. It made everyone move up and down, and there were 18 turns in the mountain road. It made people who didn't get motion sickness faint, and some even vomited. Holy shit, this road is too miserable. Is this a road? It almost knocked my soul out. I regret so much. Why did I come? I want to go back. Who can withstand this ghost road? The head teacher looked at everyone complaining and said softly, "Students, just hold on, we will be there soon." As a result, before the car reached the entrance of the village, the mountain road ahead collapsed. The driver was so frightened that he braked suddenly, and the students who were not seated firmly and fastened their safety belts were thrown out of their seats. I crawled on the ground and started to complain. The driver was embarrassed and said that he couldn't go further, so he had to get out of the car and walk into the village. Now these delicate girls are willing to get off the bus. The dirt road is so dirty that your shoes will be dirty when you walk on it. The head teacher had no choice but to take the lead and get out of the car. "Students, let's enter the village quickly. What if we continue to stay here and the mountain suddenly collapses again?" Mukinjian jumped out of the car, turned around and said to them, "If you don't get out of the car and leave here, be careful that the car and the people on it will collapse together." Everyone had to get out of the car reluctantly. The head teacher looked happy when he saw that what she said was more effective than him. Not far away from the vehicle, the road collapsed. The bus fell directly down the mountain, and the driver looked distressed for his bus. The students looked at the scene, and it was just as Mukinjian said. The head teacher looked apologetic and said, "Old Lou, I'll reimburse you for the car payment when you get back to school." Now the driver, Old Lou, smiled and said, "How polite you are, Teacher Yan." 35 students in Class F plus Teacher Yan and driver Lou, as well as 3 bodyguards, totaling more than 40 people. Everyone was walking the yellow mud road, completely ignoring the dirty mud under their feet. Everyone just wants to get into the village quickly, and now they don't even care about whether their shoes are dirty. Finally, after walking for 2 hours, everyone finally saw the house on the mountain. Everyone is already exhausted and doesn't even want to say anything to complain. Hike the mountain road, it's really tiring. Yinkinja's backpack was carried by Zhangzheng Grui, and Yu Qingqing's bag was carried by Tang Yuj. Even if they didn't mention anything, they were still exhausted. Suddenly, a girl in the class was so exhausted that she almost fainted. The people on the side could only support her, no one had the strength to carry her around. The girl next to her cried and shouted, "She really can't walk, what should I do?" Mukinjian carried her backpack forward and squatted in front of her. "Come up, we'll be there in half an hour, everyone, please hold on." Tanyuj walked over and said, "Master, why don't I carry it?" "No need, she is a girl, and if you, a boy, carry her, Ching Ching will misunderstand her. Besides, I can carry her, and you still have to support Ching Ching." He looked at Yu Ching Ching and said, "Okay then." The girl lay weakly on her back. Thank you, Mu Sushan." "It's okay, you should have a good rest. Stop talking, menstruation is inherently uncomfortable. You will definitely feel uncomfortable after being gone for so long." Zhang Minmin lay on her shoulder with a flushed face, feeling her body temperature. It made her heart warm, even for the girl Mukinjian. This moment also made her feel safe, and she was actually a little greedy for the gentle and powerful her. End of this chapter. The contemporary academic god is secretly a charlatan. Author, Luo Meyer. Chapter 92. Chapter 92, Liuzai Village. Finally, half an hour later, everyone breathed a sigh of relief and finally arrived. After climbing the mountain road for almost 3 hours, everyone now feels particularly friendly when they see these wooden houses. The old village chief looked at them and entertained them warmly. "Teacher Yan, you are finally here. It rained today, so the road is difficult to walk. Hurry, children, please go inside and have a rest. They must be exhausted." Teacher Yan said politely, "Well, please trouble the village chief. The children have been walking for several hours. Now they are tired and hungry. Please give the old village chief some food for the children." "Haha, okay. The people in the village have prepared the ingredients. You can cook them now. You can eat in an hour." The group arrived at the village chief's house. Fortunately, the village chief's house was the largest house in the village. Therefore, the first floor can accommodate 40 people, and everyone sat down on small stools without being particular. At this moment, everyone showed a satisfied smile, even though the short wooden stool was uncomfortable for the buttocks to sit on. But now for them, sitting is the best, and they no longer care whether they are comfortable or not. After asking where the bathroom was for her, Mu Qingjian put Zhang Minmin down. "Go in and change." Zhang Minmin nodded shyly, "Okay." After she was finished changing, she helped her sit down on a comfortable armchair. Everyone envied her very much. She was the one who could be praised by the academic god. Thanks to her boyfriend, everyone admired Mu Qingjian even more. That girl can carry a girl who is about the same weight as herself on a difficult mountain road. The road was not flat, it was a climbing one. And she didn't feel tired at all, and she walked faster than them, which was simply amazing. When the villagers set the table and prepared to serve food, everyone sat down one after another. The boy, who was already extremely hungry, took a bowl and helped himself to the meal, and gradually everyone started to help themselves. Tanyuj prepared rice for Mu Qingjian. "Master, your meal." She handed the rice to Zhang Minmin beside her, and he saw another bowl of rice being given to her. Zhang Minmin took the bowl and said thank you, and she nodded to say you're welcome. Maybe everyone is hungry today and all the food on the table has been eaten. Under the arrangement of the village chief, the male classmate lived in the house next door. The girls live in the village chief's house, and everyone lines up to take a bath at the villager's house. They lay down on the bed tiredly to rest. They could only wait until they got up tomorrow morning to see the beautiful scenery. At night, the whole village seemed particularly quiet. Since the villages are all made of wooden houses, the sound insulation effect is very poor. The building where the boys live is less than 2 meters away from the girls. I can hear their small voices, although I can't make out what they are saying. Zhang Minmin turned over in discomfort. Mu Qingjian, who was next door to her, looked at her. "Do I need to change that one?" Zhang Minmin whispered aggrievedly, "Well, I'm afraid. They live on the second floor and need to go downstairs and turn right to use the toilet." The large and dark wooden house was really scary. She picked up her mobile phone to illuminate, and Zhang Minmin stood up. Past one girl after another, because there were so many people, everyone was sleeping directly on the floor. This is the habit of people here. There are basically no extra beds to sleep on. Some villagers and elderly people are used to sleeping on the floor. It's so simple. Zhang Minmin turned on the light of her mobile phone and looked at the simple toilet. She hurriedly changed into it. Turning on the faucet and washing hands next to the pig pen, "Mu Sushan, can I call you Xiao Yan?" "You can call it whatever you want, the name is used as a title." Zhang Minmin smiled happily, "Thank you for today." Mu Qingjian walked in front, "You're welcome, were you born on the Ghost Festival on the 14th of July? She looked surprised. "Xiao Yan, how do you know?" Why didn't she know that the ghost nearby was secretly staring at her? Her yin energy was so strong that if he didn't accompany her down, he might be possessed by a ghost. In addition, she was in an extraordinary period, and her body was weak and she was more likely to be possessed by ghosts. It's okay, I guess. This thing is for you, you can carry it with you. Put the amulet in her hand. Jiang Minmin's face turned slightly red and she held the talisman in her hand. Thank you, Xiao Yan. Well, let's go upstairs to sleep. Woke up in the morning, the sky was slightly bright, and a loud rooster crow woke up the sleeping people. One after another, every house was filled with smoke, and they started to make breakfast. Since they live on a slope, the mountain not far away is a foggy sky. As the sun rises, it slowly fades away. Mu Qingjian walked downstairs and arrived at the second floor. The head teacher saw her and said, "Ah, classmate Mu woke up so early. How did you sleep?" Mu Qingjian sat aside and said, "It's not bad. Teacher Yan got up quite early. Haha, I probably slept on the wooden board for the first time, so I woke up early. Breakfast has been prepared, classmate Mu. You go and wake up the classmates. We have to help the villagers in the morning." "Okay, village chief, do you have any loud gongs and drums here? Or a trumpet?" The head teacher looked confused. "Student Mu, what do you want to do?" The old village chief held a round iron gong and drum. "That's it? Let's just hit this one when we discuss things. The sound is really loud." Now teacher Yan knew what she wanted to do, and looked at her with admiration. "Not bad. This will definitely wake them up." Mu Qingjian came to the boy's door with the gong. The loud noise woke everyone up from their sweet dreams. "Holy shit, who is it? Do you want anyone to sleep? What are you knocking on? It's so noisy." She ignored their complaints and continued knocking. This time everyone was so noisy that they could not sleep. "Get dressed and go out to see who it was." In the early morning, before dawn, there was a lot of knocking. When they opened the wooden door, they found that it was already dawn outside. But the room inside the house was too dark and covered with cloth, so they thought it was not dawn. Looking at Mu Qingjian who suddenly struck the gong, they couldn't complain. "Oh. When you wake up, let's go wash up and have breakfast, and then go to work in the fields." The boy complained with a look on his face, "No. It's not even 7 o'clock, and you have to go to work." She ignored their complaints and returned to the village chief's house. Such a loud noise had already woken up the girls, and everyone changed their clothes one after another. The villagers took the food they cooked at home and brought it to the village chief's house to set it up. After eating good food, the old village chief took them to the mountains to chop firewood. Everyone had knives in their hands and didn't know how to use them. Everyone was walking on the road in the mountains, looking at the surrounding scenery, and taking pictures with their mobile phones. Yin Qingji took Mu Qingjian's hand and said, "The air here is great. The terraces are also beautiful. But there is a lot of water in this field, there are even ducks swimming in it. How strange it is." Yu Qingqing took a photo of the scene with her mobile phone. Mu Qingjian looked at the field and saw fish. "There are fish in this field, quite a lot of them." Zhang Xingrui quickly ran over and took a look. "I'm going, there are really fish in this field, it's so amazing." When he said this, everyone gathered around the field, and indeed there were fish swimming in it. The old village chief looked at them, stroking his beard and explaining with a smile. "There is so much water in this field for raising fish, and they will grow up in the rice. Just put the fry in, and they will grow up eating the rice flowers. That's why it's called rice flower fish. Now that the rice has been harvested, the fish have grown up and are ready to eat. Keep going, kids, we're going to the place where we cut firewood." The group continued to follow the old village chief and came to a dense pine forest. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The contemporary academic god is secretly a charlatan. Author, Lugo Meyer. Chapter 93. Chapter 93 Collective Coma. The old village chief explained how to cut down a small tree and prune out unnecessary small branches. The boys probably understood and started chopping. Girls are weak and it takes more than a dozen cuts to cut off a small tree with one arm. Mukinjian and Tanyuj were simple to chop down trees. After all, they were not ordinary people. Mukinjian was cut down with one sword, two big swords. Because the blade is too thick and it is not a sword, it is not very sharp. This created a huge contrast. Behind her was a piece of firewood, less than an hour later. She alone is better than the rest of the class. The further the others cut at the back, the slower they got. Her speed is getting faster and faster. After all, she is proficient. The old village chief smiled and said, "Teacher Yan. This little girl is so strong, can she chop so smoothly and quickly? Haha, I didn't expect her to be that capable." It took less than 2 hours to cut firewood, and it took 2 hours for everyone to move all the firewood. They didn't chop much firewood, but Mukinjian and Tanyuj had more firewood, so they made several trips to finish the move. Looking at the flat land at the entrance of the village, which was filled with firewood that they had worked hard to chop all morning, everyone looked satisfied. I didn't care about my image and sat on the ground to take a rest. This work was too tiring. After a short break, the head teacher asked them to have lunch. Then they got up one after another and walked to the village chief's house. We walked up the stone stairs and returned to the village chief's house. People who have eaten and drank enough take out their mobile phones and want to play some games. There was no signal at all, which was extremely disappointing. Zhang Xingrui raised his head in despair. There's not even a signal in this place, how remote it is. Okay, anyway, 5 days, just don't use your mobile phone for 5 days. Tanyuj didn't care at all. The head teacher asked the old village chief, if you need help with anything else after you have rested later, just give me your instructions. The old village chief thought that they all liked to watch fish in the morning, then let the children catch fish later. The fish will also grow up. Haha, that's okay, they've rested since then. A group of people knew they were going to catch fish, and they looked excited. Everyone carried buckets and small net bags and followed the village chief to the fields by the river. Everyone looked at the crystal clear river water and wanted to go swimming. The old village chief smiled and said, "The children can go down if they want. After all, it will be too hot to walk for such a long time. Anyway, going to the fields will stain your pants and clothes, so you can play whatever you want." With these words, several boys were so hot that they jumped directly. It's so cool. Girls look enviously at the fact that boys can swim in the river without restraint, but they can't. After swimming for a while, we returned to the shore. Everyone went to the fields one after another, not to mention that the fields were quite deep. Mukinjian looked at the net bag in her hand and found several fish in one catch. Yinkinja and others quickly fished out the fish when they saw it, but failed to catch it. This fish was too cunning and I didn't catch it. After fishing for a long time, she finally caught it. Haha, Xiao Yanyan, I caught a fish. Yu Qingqing looked at Mukinjian's bucket. Xiao Yan's bucket is full. As soon as she said this, she looked at the palm-sized fish with some disgust. Xiao Yanyan is really too much, totally incomparable. Mukinjian laughed and said, "It's okay. I'll catch you when the time comes." Since the net could not catch any fish, Zhang Xingrui was so angry that he immediately grabbed it. But he was so excited that he threw himself down in the field. A large splash of water made the person standing next to him unlucky and got soaked all over. "Ah, Zhang Xingrui, what are you doing?" The boy immediately rushed over and said, "You're finished." This time catching fish turned into a splashing carnival where you chase each other and even the girls were covered in muddy water. Mukinjian was so clever and agile that she avoided them. The boys in Class F looked at her, the only one who was clean. Smiling evilly, "We are all dirty, but Mu Shuishen is not dirty. This doesn't make sense." Looking at them with evil smiles on their faces, even Yin Qinja and Yu Qingqing stood at the edge of the field watching, looking forward to whether they could defeat her. "Xiao Yanyan, how can you be clean as long as you are clean? You share the blessings and the hardships. Come and accompany us," Yin Qinja shouted with a smile. Mu Qinjian's lips curved into a wicked smile. "You guys are planning to attack me, so let's see." Zhang Grui pushed Tanyuj forward. "You go up first, and everyone will help you from behind." "That master has offended me, I'm here." He squatted on the ground and splashed water with his hands. Obviously he deliberately let things slip, and everyone knows it. Seeing that she was avoiding him, the boys looked at each other and surrounded her. "Haha, let's see how you run." A group of people squatted on the ground and splashed water with their hands. Seeing this, Mu Qinjian made a 360-degree spin with her feet, and the huge water splash drenched them all over. The boy's face was dirty, he was stunned and motionless, and there was such an operation. The girls watched all the boys being wiped out and burst into laughter. The head teacher watched a group of boys bullying her and said, "Okay, stop making trouble, everyone come up. Go back to the village." Everyone cleaned up by the river and returned to the village all wet. After washing up, the villagers are ready to cook. Since there were no mobile phones to play with, everyone sat and chatted after eating. Suddenly everyone fell to the ground one by one. Looking at the increasingly blurry vision in front of her, people also fainted and fell to the ground. In the middle of the night, Mu Qinjian was woken up by Dandan and the others. She covered her head, feeling a headache. "Damn it, someone actually put drugs in the food, they were careless." "Hey, you woke up in just a few minutes. You know, my drug can make ordinary people sleep for half a day." "You are really amazing," a woman said with a smile and raised her chin. Mu Qinjian looked at the strange woman in front of her. "Are you a demon? Who are you?" The woman covered her mouth and smiled. "Haha, the little girl is quite smart. She is indeed the smartest person among this group of people." At this time, the village chief and villagers appeared in the cave, knelt on the ground and said respectfully, "Spirit God, we have captured them for you. Can you give us eternal life?" Seeing this, the Banshee walked up to them. "Tisk tisk, what greedy humans. Do you think it's that easy to live forever? Haha, actually, I lied to you. I just used you to catch some humans for me. I really thought there was a way to live forever." After saying that, he grabbed the village chief's son and sucked him dry. Until the opponent turned into a dry, flat body and was thrown directly to the ground. As expected, absorbing people's yang energy is the fastest way to increase your cultivation level. Haha, with so many people, I can level up. You monster. She is not a spirit god, she is a monster, run away. The old village chief knelt on the ground and looked at his dead son. He stood up and tried to fight the banshee, but was sucked dry by her and turned into a mummy. The villagers wanted to run away, but twisting tree roots suddenly appeared on the ground and tied them up. The banshee looked at them who were scared, with a look of enjoyment on her face. "Be my food. Wait until I all your yang energy dry, and then I can leave here." Haha. End of this chapter. The contemporary academic god is secretly a charlatan. Author, Luo Meyer. Chapter 94. Chapter 94 Thousand-Year Dryad. Looking at the dead villagers, Mu Qinjian knew that although they were guilty, their crimes would not lead to death. Mu Qinjian asked Bing Feng to untie it secretly for her, which, put down that villager. The banshee saw that she was untied and dropped the villagers in her hands. "How could you untie me? Who are you? You are not human." Mu Qinjian couldn't help but retort, You are not a human being. You said you had practiced hard for thousands of years to become an adult. But you chose to go astray. Many people must have died at your hands. Also, when we first came to Liozai village, you deliberately collapsed the hillside. You also destroyed our car. It was all your work. The banshee smiled. So what if it's me? So what if you break free from my shackles? In the end, if you don't become my nourishment, I advise you not to struggle. I will let you die more comfortably. Mukinjian took out her natal magic weapon and said, "You are right. You could have become an immortal through cultivation, but you took the path you shouldn't have taken. So just keep your life. You are an immortal cultivator. It's impossible. How can there be immortal cultivators in this world?" The banshee looked at her defensively. "Yes, don't you know it now?" Seeing this, the banshee quickly waved her body to attack Mukinjian. Haha, the immortal cultivator is actually an immortal cultivator. If I eat you, I can become an immortal. I didn't expect you to hide your cultivation. With such a high cultivation, if I eat you, I will become an immortal. She excitedly waved the tree roots and attacked Mukinjian. But she avoided them all, and she chopped off a root every time. After a few seconds, she returned to her original appearance. If this continued, she would definitely have her spiritual energy consumed by this banshee. The most important thing is that there are students from Class F in this cave, as well as villagers from the village. With such a group of people, it would be easy for her to use large-scale spiritual power to hurt them. He took out a bag of powder from his arms and floated it towards the villagers. Soon all the villagers fainted, and the banshee wondered what she wanted to do. "Why do you want to stun the villagers?" "Dandan Bingfeng, move everyone out, I will drag her out." Dandan and Bingfeng recovered their bodies and flew towards the village with everyone on their backs. The banshee was furious as she watched them take away all her food. "Ah, I want your life." Looking at the classmates and villagers who had left safely, she was no longer tiptoeing. Start directly to attract thunder. After all, the most effective way to deal with tree monsters is thunder. Bingfeng and Dandan looked at the sky filled with dark clouds, thunder, and lightning, and knew that their master was about to use his ultimate move. The banshee heard the thunder outside and looked terrified. "Who are you to cause thunder and disaster? If you want me to die, don't even think about running away." The banshee used all her demonic power to trap Mukinjian in her own body. Being trapped in the body by a female tree demon, its demonic elixir ran directly into her mouth and was swallowed by her. Huge thunder struck directly at Mukinjian and the banshee. "Ah!" The banshee's painful screams made Dandan and the others extremely nervous. They wanted to rush in, but were blocked by an invisible barrier and unable to enter. 9 thunder tribulations struck down one after another. The screams of the banshee had already disappeared when the first thunder struck. However, the thunder tribulation continued until the 9 thunder tribulations disappeared. Looking over, the cave and the banshee's body had long been smashed to pieces, leaving only an extremely huge pit to prove its existence. They were digging hard in the big pit, calling Mukinjian at the same time. "Master, where are you?" Mukinjian crawled out of the soil with a grey face and smoke coming out of her mouth when she spoke. "Egg, can you lift your feet off my back? You want to trample your master to death." Dandan was so frightened that he raised his feet and lowered his big head to look at Mukinjian at his feet. "Ah, master, I didn't know you were at my feet." "Damn it, you can lose weight your master, I was not struck to death by lightning, I was almost stepped on by you and suffered internal injuries." Dandan blushed in embarrassment. "I'm sorry, master, you are too young and didn't notice that master was at my feet." Bingfeng picked her up and put her on Dandan's back. "Master, are you okay?" Mukinjian sat on it. "It's okay, it's a blessing in disguise. I was just trapped in the body of this female tree demon, and then its 1,000-year-old demon elixir was accidentally swallowed into my stomach. In the end, all the lightning tribulations struck me. Fortunately, I had this space ring to protect me, otherwise, I would have been severely injured if I had not been struck to death by the lightning tribulation. Fortunately, I survived these 9 lightning tribulations. Suddenly Dandan and Bingfeng felt that their spiritual power fluctuations were getting stronger and stronger. Master, we are going to upgrade. Mu Qingjian looked at them in their deep sleep and took them into space. At this moment, she felt that her whole body was full of spiritual power, absorbing the 1,000 years of cultivation of this tree demon. She has now stepped into the realm of a true immortal cultivator. In her previous life, she was just a nascent soul cultivator. Now that she is distracted, no wonder she only caused 1 thunder catastrophe, but actually caused 9 thunder tribulations. When she returned to the village, she saw densely packed people lying in the open space. Erase the villagers' memories of the banshee and undo the poison on them. Tanyuj woke up in a daze. Why was he sleeping on the ground? Mu Qingjian walked to him and said, "Get up, I slept really deeply." He stood up and looked at the people lying on the ground. "Master, what's wrong with me? I remember I was at the village chief's house. Why did I come here?" "It's okay, help the people on the ground back home quickly." Okay." The master of emotion wakes him up and asks him to be a mover. How long will it take him to move so many people? Tanyuj looked at Mu Qingjian carrying a person in one hand and her back. Why did he feel that there was an indescribable feeling about his master, a sense of immortality? He shook his head. What was he thinking? After working for more than 10 minutes, we finally finished moving the people. Mu Qingjian leaned on her chair and stared at the sky in a daze. "It's going to rain heavily today." Tanyuj stretched out his head and said, "Master, how can you tell from this pitch-black sky that it's going to rain heavily?" Boom! The huge thunder startled him. "No way. It's really raining." At this time, people on the ground were awakened by the thunder. "What's wrong? Why is it thundering? Why am I lying on the ground? My head hurts so much." When he saw them finally waking up, he said, "Since they are all awake, get up and leave here." The head teacher asked in confusion, "Student Mu, it's raining so heavily outside, why are we leaving here?" "Yes. Why do you want to leave if you are so good? Even if you leave, you have to leave at dawn." Yin Qingja held her hand and said, "Xiao Yanyan, what's wrong with you? It's raining so hard. Let's wait until tomorrow morning to leave." How was she going to tell them that there were banshee roots all under this house? When she dies, this place will no longer exist. Coupled with the heavy rain, Liuzai village will definitely be buried by the hillside. End of this chapter. The contemporary academic god is secretly a charlatan. Author, Luo Meyer. Chapter 95. Chapter 95 is trending. Mu Qingjian looked at the time running out. Suddenly the house shook, and the house obviously collapsed. "Get out of here quickly, the house is going to collapse." Everyone ran outside the house. The villagers immediately ran back home and took their children with them. The old man walked slowly, and the boys in the class immediately carried him on their backs. The head teacher looked at the old people and children in the village and said, "Everyone, carry the children and old people down and get out of here quickly." Then he picked up a child and left. Fortunately, there are only 50 or 60 people in the village, so the population is not large. Everyone and the villagers quickly evacuated when they walked down the mountain. The huge collapse sound, accompanied by the slightly bright sky, could be seen clearly. Everyone looked at the no longer existing Liuzai village on the top of the mountain, unable to imagine that they had really escaped from death just now. The old villagers looked at their hometown and couldn't help but shed tears in their eyes. Those old people and children, they don't know about the old village chief and some villagers and the banshee. Now they were sad and crying. It was all ruined. The head teacher made the call, and soon the rescue team rushed over. Everyone got in the car and evacuated the scene one after another. This Liuzai village collapsed overnight, with a radius of 1 mile, and was reduced to a barren of loess. It is no longer suitable for the villagers of Liaozai to continue their lives. Class F, who escaped from death, immediately became a hot search topic. Reporters from various media rushed to the scene, hoping to get this breaking news. A reporter from Zhongxin Media was interviewing one of the girls. "Hello, do you know what happened before Liaozai village collapsed?" Yan Qinji coughed slightly when asked. "I don't know. We didn't know what happened after we had dinner. When we woke up, Xiao Yanyan told us that Liaozai village was about to collapse. That's why everyone can be the first time to escape the scene. Xiao Yanyan is indeed the best." The reporter from Zhongxin Media chuckled and said, "That's right. That's quite lucky." She then interviewed Tang Yuj. "Hello, may I ask how you discovered the sudden mountain collapse?" "Ah, I didn't find it, my master found it." The female reporter asked several people without giving up, and they all discovered it by the same person. He then came to Mu Qinjian with the microphone and said, "Hello, are you classmate Mu Qinjian? Well, is something wrong?" The female reporter looked at this imposing girl, wearing a mysterious mask that could not hide her temperament. That long black silky hair, and those eyes as charming as the starry sky. If you look at it for a while, you will have the illusion that you are about to be sucked in. There was a faint celestial spirit exuding all over his body, and he felt like he was aloof. "Ahem, I heard that you discovered the landslide, and I'm curious as to how you discovered it in advance." "Well, I guessed." This made the reporter unable to continue asking questions for the first time and could only watch her leave. When this news was released, everyone was attracted by Mu Qinjian's straightforward and frank character and commented one after another. "This mysterious masked lady is so direct that the reporter couldn't continue what she said. Haha. I want to know why the young lady wears a mask. Can students still wear masks to school now? Ah, even though the young lady is wearing a mask, I can feel that she is definitely a beauty. The person upstairs guessed wrong, her name is Mu Qinjian. In Class F of the Imperial Phoenix Academy, the first capital of the Imperial capital, she used to be a beauty, but after her face was disfigured, she wore a mask. No. What a pity. Mu Qinjian's personal information was directly exposed online. Everyone felt sorry for her, such a good-looking person was also of learning. His life, which was supposed to be glorious, was actually disfigured. After returning home, Mr. Bo and Grandma Bo looked relieved when they saw her coming back. How could something like this happen suddenly? It's so dangerous. Grandma Bo was still panicking. Mu Qinjian smiled calmly. "Grandma, am I fine? This thing is out of control, but fortunately everyone is fine, so everything is fine. Fortunately, you're fine, but your grandpa and I are worried a lot. Have a good rest today, and Grandma will have someone prepare something delicious for you." "Okay, thank you Grandma." Bolao looked a little serious. "Xiao Yan and Grandpa are going to the study. I have something to ask you." "Okay, Grandpa." After arriving at the study, Bolao said earnestly, "Tell me. What happened?" According to the villagers, their village chief, his son, and several other villagers had not seen him before the collapse. However, during the search, a large number of bones were found near Liaozai village. The deaths were all within the past month, but the bodies looked like mummies that had been dead for hundreds of years. Mu Qinjian had no choice but to tell the truth. "Okay. I know I can't hide it from you, Grandpa. In fact, last night I met a tree demon who specializes in sucking people's yang and essence. Those mummies were actually possessed by her. The village chief and his son were also sucked dry by the banshee, so they looked like mummies who had been dead for a long time." "So you killed the tree demon and caused Liaozai village to collapse?" Mu Qinjian touched her nose. "Ahem, it seems like this." Lao Bo waved his hand. "Okay, you go to eat first. Grandpa hopes you understand one thing, that is, No matter when and where you are, remember to protect yourself. Do you understand? Okay, I understand, Grandpa. Finally, Bolao asked someone to make arrangements to rule out homicide. After it was confirmed that they died of natural causes, the bodies in Liuzai village became an unsolved mystery. Fleeing into the space, he watched Dandan and Bingfeng, who were still sleeping, return to the house. At this time, Han Yexuan appeared in her room. Qing are you okay? Your cultivation level has improved. Yes, you have been so busy recently. What have you been doing? I absorbed 1,000-year-old demon elixir yesterday, so my cultivation level has increased a lot. His expression changed greatly, and he reached out to hold her hand. Sit down and let me see. Mu Qingjian sat cross-legged on the bed, and Han Yexuan sat behind her. After forcing the demonic energy out of her body, she stood up with confidence. Qing how can you take demon pills randomly? If the demon energy explodes or invades the body, you will become a demon cultivator. The one who accidentally ate it was in a tense situation at the time. Han Yexuan rubbed her head helplessly. Fool, I've only been away from you for a few days and I'm in trouble. I'm thinking about whether to hang you on my body so that you won't be in danger. I don't want it. I'm not a giant baby. I'm really fine. I miss you. Mu Qingjian hugged his waist greedily, like a child. Han Yexuan hugged her and said, I miss you too. I've been busy these days. I know you're clingy, so when I finish my busy work, I'll be with you every day. Huh, you just know it, when people fall in love, it's all sweet, watch movies, go shopping and so on. Looking at Mu Qingjian, who was in a mood, he lowered his head and kissed her red lips. She couldn't complain, his special assistant said. If your girlfriend complains and is angry, kiss her and you won't be angry anymore. Looking at her, she was no longer angry. This trick was really good. I can give him a salary increase tomorrow. The kiss lasted for a long time before leaving, and Han Yexuan enjoyed her shy expression. Okay, Qing is not angry anymore. I know I was wrong, and I won't go without you for a few days. Mu Qingjian leaned weakly in his arms. This guy learned the rogue tricks from there. Damn it, he actually tempted herself, but she was still tempted. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The contemporary academic god is secretly a charlatan. Author, Luo Meyer. Chapter 96. Chapter 96, Weird Way of Heaven. Mu Qingjian leaned in his arms and was a little curious about his cultivation level. She raised her head and asked, Xian, what is your current cultivation level? Why can't I feel your cultivation level and spiritual power? Han Yexuan was puzzled for a while. Huh? Why are you suddenly curious about my cultivation level? It should be good. Do you want to try it with me? It just so happens that you can see how your cultivation level is now. As soon as she heard that she could fight with him, she stood up immediately and happily held his big hand. Let's go then. I just want to see my current strength and the power of a full blow. After all, there are not many people who can hit me. I don't know what my strength is now. Han Yexuan put his arm around her waist and said, that's it? That's easy. I'll take you to a place where you can use your full strength. Soon the two of them appeared in a spacious desert. Is this the good place you said, the desert? He waved his hand and formed a huge barrier in the air for protection. Well, now you can use your full strength and let me take a good look at the full strength of my Jing. Mu Qingjian took a step back and grinned. Hee, I'm not welcome then. Just watch your move. A huge spiritual ball quickly condensed in his hand and he swung it towards Han Yexuan. Han Yexuan stretched out a hand to block it in front and broke it with a pinch. Bang, The huge spiritual energy riot caused the yellow sand around him to fly all over the sky. But he remained motionless, which made Mukinjian interested. Mukinjian instantly started fighting and became serious. She couldn't even make him move even 50% of the time. The good guy Xian's strength was simply unbelievable. It seemed like she had to use all her spiritual power, but she didn't believe it wouldn't hurt him at all. The huge spiritual ball is like a meteor shower, stirring up huge waves of yellow sand. Until the yellow sand disappeared, Han Yexuan suddenly didn't look the least bit embarrassed. Ranged attacks are useless, so try melee combat. The fierce battle between the two caused huge craters of various sizes to form in the nearby desert. The two fought for more than an hour, and Mukinjian was knocked away by his spiritual power. Han Yexuan flew up to catch her from the air, slowly fell down, and pursed his lips with a mischievous smile. How does Jing'er feel about my husband's strength now? I can still satisfy you. If you are not satisfied, my husband can continue to practice with you until Jing'er is satisfied. Mukinjian's face was so angry that she pouted in dissatisfaction. Humph, you scoundrel, you are just teasing me. You haven't used your trump card or your full strength at all, so I can't feel good at all. When fighting with you, I don't even know how strong I am. It seems too bad far. Okay. Don't be angry. I wish I knew your strength. My Jing'er is already great, what reward do you want? She stretched out her hand and thought for a moment, well, what kind of reward? I don't know what I want yet, so write it down for me first, and I'll think of it next time. Okay, then I'll write it down for you and tell you when I want to give it to you again. After that, he secretly kissed again. This kiss is a small reward from my husband to Jing'er, so don't be too moved. Mukinjian blushed and beat him. These skills you learned to flirt with girls were not like this when I first met you. Have you flirted with other girls like this before? Tell me honestly. Han Yexuan couldn't help laughing, haha, Jing'er, how cute are you? Fool, I've only flirted with you, and I've only liked you. So you can't accuse me wrongly, I only want you, Jing'er. That's it? She has nothing to do with me, and I have no intention of giving extra love to anyone else. After all, my heart can only accommodate Jing'er, and I only love you. Facing his affectionate confession, Mukinjian's heart almost jumped out of her chest. Does this monster know how sinful he is now? Her heart almost melted. In order to hide her current emotions, she hid her head in his arms. Xian, we will always be good, right? You won't leave me suddenly. He kissed her hair tenderly. No, I won't leave you. Be good, don't think about it, you have to know that I will always be by your side. Well, I promised you to stay with me forever. Han Yexuan watched her clutching her clothes, closing her eyes and falling asleep obediently. She showed a lack of security, and various signs told him how helpless, lonely, and scared she had been. So she is always careful and pretends that she is strong. But who knows, she is just a girl. She is also sensitive and fragile, but she is always strong and brave to face everything. His Jing'er always thinks about others and always wants to protect others. She rescues people and is not afraid of any setbacks. Her kindness and bravery always made him feel distressed. He just wanted his girl to be as happy, carefree, and unrestrained as other girls. Dark flame flew out of the space. Master, you just fought and it has attracted the attention of heaven. You must be careful not to be discovered by heaven in this world. Han Yexuan hugged her and said, well, you leave traces of handling, so be careful. Good master. After Han Yexuan and Mukinjian left, a huge vortex suddenly appeared in the sky and swirled in the sky. Lightning flashed and extinguished in the nearby sky, and the dark flame transformed into an extremely huge dark dragon. A huge dragon roar flew towards the strange vortex in the sky, and soon the sky returned to its original state. After dealing with the dark flames of heavenly Dao, he returned to his side. Han Yexuan took out the spiritual core and handed it to Dark Flame. Take it. The world has been a bit chaotic recently. I don't know why, but it doesn't feel very stable. Dark Flame ate the spiritual core and said, Master, I feel that the law of heaven in this world is getting weaker and weaker. I think when we first came here, it was much more powerful than it was just now. I don't know why, but it's always a little bit strange. Well, you have been observing two people for me recently. If you find anything strange, let me know. Dark Flame said calmly, is the man and woman the master is talking about? Good master, I feel that the woman is indeed a little weird. She got ahead of us several times in the mysterious realm, and recently she intercepted us again and again. It's like she knew it in advance, but she didn't have any spiritual fluctuations at all. She was completely an ordinary person. Han Yexuan put Mu Qingjian on the bed. Be careful, I feel something strange about her. He, I know the master, she is just a woman without spiritual power. Even if she has any treasures, I, Dark Flame, am not afraid of her. Dark Flame wagged his tail happily, just like a puppy. Well, just be careful, then go ahead. Looking at her sleeping soundly, his heart felt soft. Good night. End of this chapter. The contemporary academic god is secretly a charlatan. Author, Luo Meyer. Chapter 97. Chapter 97 Acting as a Sidekick. By the time Mu Qingjian got up in the morning, Han Yexuan had already left. She stretched lazily, as if she could always fall asleep peacefully since meeting him. Due to the accident in Liuzai village, Class F can rest for 2 days before returning to school. The school also wants to appease them. After all, this rural experience has really put Class F through too many hardships. It will probably be unforgettable for a lifetime, but they don't know that without Mu Qingjian. Not only is it unforgettable, it may never come back. I picked out a long skirt from the dressing room. Bolau's 60th birthday was coming soon. It was also the day he retired as chief, so she was going to the antique market to pick out some goodies for him. When she came to the antique market wearing a mask, everyone couldn't help but look at her. She was a little surprised. There were usually a lot of people here, but why were there so few today? How else did the antique vendors at the street stalls actually put on ancient costumes? Not to mention it's quite impressive. Today she was wearing an antique dress, and it turned out that people in the antique street were also wearing antique clothes. What a coincidence. Looking at Mu Qingjian who suddenly appeared, the director was also confused. Then he said angrily to the staff behind him, who is guarding the door today? Why did you let passers-by in and not invite them out? At this time, in the live shooting scene across the street, a man has just mounted a horse. Just a few seconds after getting up, the horse suddenly started running like crazy. He struggled to hold onto the horse's rope and shouted, "Get out of the way, the horse is crazy." The extras standing on both sides looked at it with strange expressions. This horse was riding so fast and steady, and it turned out to be a real horse racing on the spot. The child and mother, who were standing on the road performing a show, looked at the horse running towards them quickly. I was completely dumbfounded. When we were filming, the director didn't say that we were actually going to film being hit by a horse. Mu Qingjian saw the mother and son in a daze and ran over quickly. He threw them aside and quickly stood up again. The extra performers in the previous stage were pretending to be frightened, but now they are really frightened. Ah! The extras ran away in panic and yelled, and Mu Qingjian quickly ran back to catch up. He jumped up and sat on the man's back, then quickly grabbed the horse's rope, clamped his legs and pulled him back. The horse jumped off its front legs due to the huge pulling force and slowly stopped. The man on the horse looked a little pale, and the director also rushed over. "Yuran, are you okay?" Bo Yuran jumped off the horse, his feet obviously numb. "Director, I'm fine. Thank you for saving me." When he looked at her, he looked surprised. You are Mukinjian." Mukinjian looked at Boyuran and said, "It's you. Do you know that it's dangerous to ride a horse like this? There are so many people on the road. You don't know how to ride a horse but you still ride it? Do you know that you almost hit someone?" Boyuran nodded repeatedly, "Yes, it's my fault. I didn't know this horse suddenly behaved like this." The director felt a little strange when he saw Boyuran politely apologize to the masked girl in front of him. "You two know each other?" Boyuran smiled and touched his head. "This is my cousin Mukinjian, my great-grandfather's granddaughter." The director looked at Mukinjian. "This girl was so agile just now." "Haha, girl. Are you interested in filming? My drama lacks a female assassin, and she happens to be wearing a mask. She appeared in a few episodes, but I couldn't find a suitable candidate. So girl, do you want to come over and replace me? How about 1.5 million episodes of playing this female killer?" Boyuran thought of filming with her and said happily, "Xiao Yan, why don't you try it out? That role is very suitable for you." Thinking about it, Mukinjian thought she had nothing to do in the past 2 days. 1 million to shoot 5 episodes seemed like a good deal. "Yes, but I only have time today and tomorrow. Can these 5 episodes be completed in these 2 days? If not, I will stop acting." The director knew that she was not short of money, so he paid a whopping 1 million yuan to hire her to film. First, she has her own traffic, and she has good skills, so he will definitely make back the million he spent. "Haha, of course. I will give you the script of a female assassin now. It doesn't have many lines. It just has a lot of martial arts scenes. You can read it first." The director handed her the script. Mukinjian took over and read quickly. 10 minutes later. "Director, that's it? Ah. I memorized it so quickly." "Okay, Xiao Dan, you can take Muyeta to change the clothes of the female assassin and get her hair done. Since no makeup is required, just tying up the hair is enough." When she came out wearing a black assassin outfit, the director's eyes were filled with shock. This is the heroic and handsome female assassin he imagined. She is so touching. The director handed her the sword and said, "Here is the sword for you. When you do, you will use this sword to assassinate His Royal Highness the Crown Prince on the carriage. I have memorized the lines, so let's try it first." Well, remember. When the filming started, her aura changed immediately. It was as if she was an emotionless assassin, standing on the eaves and looking at the people on the carriage. She quickly jumped down from the eaves more than 2 or 3 meters high, just in time to jump onto the top of the carriage. This shocked the director. He didn't jump. He just planned to film the scene where she was hiding on the eaves, and then planned to use the pendant to help her jump onto the carriage. Mukinjian turned over and knocked the coachman off the carriage with a palm. Fortunately, the carriage moved very slowly. The extra actor, the groom, immediately pretended to faint, and the director praised him backstage for a good performance. She raised her sword and stabbed into the carriage, but was blocked by a fan. The man waved his fan and Mukinjian flew out and fell to the ground. Mukinjian immediately bit the blood in her mouth and tilted her head, spitting out a mouthful of blood. Then he quickly threw a smoke on the ground and left the scene. Boyuran was stunned inside the carriage. He was so powerful. He just pretended to wave his fan, and she really flew out. This was incredible. The director shouted excitedly, and Mukinjian walked out of the corner. "Is the director okay? Those need to change their movements." The director said helplessly, You're so scary. You jumped up from such a high place. And when you just flew out, it was too lifelike. I didn't even ask anyone to put down the mat, and I asked you to finish filming. Isn't it shot this way? Does it need to be reshot?" The director shook his head and said, "No, you shot it too realistically. It needs to be reshot." After filming the carriage assassination, there was an episode of plainclothes fighting. Then there is the episode of assassination in the palace, and finally there is the episode where she fights with others and kills herself after finding out the truth. The fifth episode is Memories. In this way, Mu Kinjian finished filming in one day, and the director directly transferred the money to her. He has never seen anyone who is so good at filming, especially martial arts scenes. Bo Yuran still had something to do, so Mu Kinjian left. Then she looked at the 1 million transferred on her phone and remembered that she wanted to pick something for her grandpa. After searching for a long time, she found nothing good. Finally, she remembered that there were many swords in space. She was also dumbfounded, and hurriedly stepped into the space and picked out an ancient sword and a century-old ginseng. It's best to cut down a tree in the space, put a sword box and a ginseng box, and that's it. End of this chapter. The contemporary academic god is secretly a charlatan. Author, Luo Meyer. Chapter 98. Chapter 98, Huang Huang Club. At this time, Dandan and Bingfeng in the space woke up and flew to her side. "Master, we are awake." Mu Kinjian looked at them, and her hair was obviously shinier and bigger, and her cultivation level had also improved a lot. "Not bad, let me see how your body has changed." After Dandan returned to his original form, he was already larger than an adult devil dog, and he also grew huge black wings. Look at the ice phoenix again, with its flawless and beautiful feathers, it is noble and elegant. It's good, your master's disaster was not in vain. The two little guys changed back to their original appearance, clinging to her shoulders and nuzzling her constantly. Take them out to the space and let them play with Mu Xiao for a while. At this moment, her cell phone rang, and she took it out of her pocket. "Hey, Xiao, is something wrong?" Yin Qinjia shouted loudly, "Hey, Xiao Yanyan. Come to the Huang Huang Club, everyone is here. We are waiting for you in the private room number 966. Come here quickly." "Okay, got it, let's go right away." Mu Xiao stepped forward and asked, "Sister, where are you going?" "Yes, Xiao Yan. It's already 8 o'clock, do you want to go out?" Grandma Lan asked curiously. She touched his cheek and said, "Grandma, I have to go out. Xiao and my sister's classmates invited me to go out to sing, so you and Grandma stay at home. My sister left Dandan and Bingfeng to play with you, okay?" Mu Xiao hugged her and said in a smart and sensible manner, "Okay. Sister, go ahead. Come back early." "Okay, you guys are not allowed to play too late, then I'm leaving, and Grandma, you should go to bed early." Grandma Lan smiled kindly, "Okay, you young people, have fun." Mu Kinjian took the key and walked to the garage. Her grandfather had given her a car, but she never drove it. She can drive today. She hasn't driven in a long time. Looking at the cool custom-made black military vehicle in front of me, it has the license plate number A.99999. Good guy, this license plate number is probably my grandpa's license plate number. The reason is that Bolao is not interested in the license plate number, and it is to celebrate Mu Kinjian's return to the Bo family. He specially put this beautiful license plate number on her new car, which was a bulletproof military vehicle that he had carefully modified. Just buying this car and renovating it cost hundreds of millions, so Mr. Bo really liked Mu Kinjian as his granddaughter and never disliked her because she was a girl. Mu Kinjian opened the car door and got in. She liked the wide seats and the line of sight, and the interior of the car was extremely exquisite. Driving on the road like this, I saw that her license plate number was almost a parking space away. The license plate number is enough for their car, let alone this cool modified military vehicle. I'm afraid that if I scratch it, it will be terrible. When she drove to the front of the Huang Huang Club, The waiter who greeted her hurriedly stepped forward to open the door for her. "Thank you, please help me park the car and send the key to box 966. The younger brother took the car key with trembling hands. "Okay, respect the guest." The people around him couldn't help but wonder when they saw a girl driving such a majestic and cool military vehicle. Which rich lady is this, driving such a luxurious car? Ah, don't you know, she has become very popular recently. She is the granddaughter of the Bo family, Mukinji, and her grandfather is Mr. Bo, so it's normal for her to be able to drive this car. The people next to me looked envious and said, "My life is so good. Okay, who wants me to have a grandpa who is the leader? Let's go." Under the guidance of the waiter, she opened the door. When everyone saw Mukinjian coming, they immediately started to cheer. Mu Shueshen came so late, so he will be punished with drinking. He will be punished with 3 glasses of wine, and Tanyuj is not allowed to help your master drink, Tianjian said. He had no choice but to give up. "Master, can you do it? If not, I will help you drink." Mu Qing picked up the wine glass with an expressionless face and drank it without any sloppiness. "Wow, what a drinker, I didn't expect Mu Sushin to have such a good drinker. Damn, I'm such a drinker." "Xiao Yanyan, are you okay?" Yin Qinja looked at her worriedly. Mu Qinjian took a sip of red wine and wiped the corner of her mouth. "This wine is not bad. Don't worry, I can still drink." Zhao Liang took the microphone and said, "Do you want to hear Mu Shui sing?" "Haha, think about it. Let's play one song, come one song." Everyone laughed and cheered. She had no choice but to take the microphone and said, "I've never sung before, but I just heard a pretty good song in the car. I can give it a try. Don't laugh at me." Zhang Xingrui smiled evilly. "There are times when you are afraid of being laughed at. Hee hee, don't worry, no one will make fun of you. You can do anything you want, and you still let us classmates in Class F live. Yes, it's okay, Mu Sushin, even if you don't sing well, no one will laugh. Input the song title and it will sound along with the melody of the ancient song." Everyone was surprised. They didn't expect Mu Qinjian to like ancient songs. Mu Qinjian was seen singing along with the accompaniment, and her spiritual voice reached their ears. The beautiful singing voice seems to take them back to ancient times. As the song gradually got higher, she sang it without losing her high pitch. Until Mu Qinjian finished singing, they were still immersed in the singing. "It's so healing for the soul, so nice to listen to." "Huh? Doesn't it sound good?" Seeing everyone stunned and no one applauding, she thought she didn't sing well. Tanyuj and others immediately applauded. "That's great, Master, the song you sang is really nice." Zhang Xingrui raised his thumbs up in admiration. "This high note almost sent me away." Yu Qingqing pulled her and said, "Xiao Yan, you sing beautifully, you can even sing such high notes." Zhang Minmin looked at her, and she felt like her ears were pregnant. She blushed and came to Mu Qinjian's side. "Xiao Yan, it sounds great, you are so awesome." "Thank you, just don't dislike it." "After all, it's my first time to sing." Mu Qinjian accepted their compliments shyly. This was her first time singing to others, which made her quite shy. But she didn't feel averse to singing it to them. Anyway, she found it quite pleasant to sing it. When everyone was done singing, someone suggested playing Truth or Dare. Whoever the bottle is turned to is whoever it is, pick one of them at will. At this turn, he stopped in front of Zhang Minmin, and Yin Qinja smiled. "Hey, classmate Minmin, do you choose to take a big risk or tell the truth?" Zhang Minmin lowered her head. "I choose to tell the truth." As soon as they heard her say she chose to tell the truth, everyone immediately started gossiping. "The real thing is, there is someone you like at the scene." Zhang Minmin cautiously glanced at Mu Qinjian. "Yes. Yes." The boys started to cheer. "Haha, who is it?" Zhang Minmin shook her head. "I'm telling the truth, so I don't need to answer your second question. The boy said somewhat disappointedly, oh, what a pity. Having played for more than an hour, the positions have been changed several times. Mu Kinjian was the only one who didn't transfer, which made them very unwilling to give up. At last the wine bottle finally stopped in front of her, and everyone stood up cheering. Mu Sushin chooses truth or dare. Mu Kinjian thought about the pros and cons, and finally chose to tell the truth. Several people gathered around to discuss, and finally asked, who did Mu Sushin give his first kiss? This question made her blush all over. Ahem, give it to my boyfriend. Wow. She stood up, I'm going to the bathroom, you guys go to work first. After saying that, he ran away immediately, fearing that he would be asked about this embarrassing topic again. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The contemporary academic god is secretly a charlatan. Author, Luo Meyer. Chapter 99. Chapter 99 Explosion. Mu Kinjian came to the bathroom and met Mo Qingcheng as soon as she came out. He looked at her and said, what a coincidence, you come out to play too. Well, since there's nothing else, let's leave it like this. Mo Linger, who was coming out to look for him, hid when he saw this scene. Mo Qingcheng pulled her and asked, do we really have no chance? Ever since he learned that she had a fiancé, she was the only thing that came to his mind. He knew he was in love with her, that's why he was angry. Mu Kinjian took out her hand and said, I made it very clear last time. I hope you don't have to ask mindless questions anymore. If I say that Linger and I have broken off our engagement, will you be with me? Mo Linger was instantly angry when she heard that he was actually going to break off the engagement with her because of her. Impossible. She ignored Mo Qingcheng's crazy words and walked directly into the bathroom. Mo Qingcheng returned to the box, completely absent-minded. Mo Linger said she was going to the bathroom, so she secretly took the medicine she got from her system. Looking at Mu Kinjian's box viciously, the system said she was in this box. The waiter who happened to be delivering Mu Kinjian's car keys passed by Mo Linger and suddenly smelled a faint scent of flowers. His eyes suddenly turned red and disappeared again. Mo Linger put the dagger and a small black ball into his pocket, moving his lips slightly but making no sound. The little brother's eyes were red for a moment and then returned to normal. Walk straight towards box room 966 and follow him in. The medicinal powder was emitted in the air, and naturally all the classmates in Class F, who were ordinary people, could not escape, except for Tanyuj. Tanyuj looked at the waiter and asked, is something wrong? I'm here to give Miss Mu the car keys, isn't Miss Mu here? He stood up and said, give me the key. I will give it to her later. The waiter refused and said, sorry, guest, we need to hand it over to Miss Mu in person. After all, the car is so expensive, I hope you can understand us. He had no choice but to give up. Okay. She'll be back soon. When Mu Kinjian came back, she found a faint floral fragrance in the politeness. Seeing everyone having fun, I stopped paying attention to the fragrance. The waiter saw her and walked up immediately. Miss Mu, your key. She took the key with a smile, thank you. Before she finished speaking, the waiter took out a dagger from his pocket and stabbed her. Mu Kinjian jumped back to avoid the fatal blow. But the stomach was still not spared from a slash, and blood flowed and stained the skirt red. Tanyuj was shocked when he saw this scene. Master. At this time, Zhang Xinggrui, who was beside him, suddenly pressed him down and strangled his neck. Tanyuj resisted him. You're crazy, Zhang Xinggrui, what are you doing? The classmates in Class F and the waiter tried their best to attack her. She was already injured and she could only dodge their attacks. looking at them who suddenly went crazy. Why did they suddenly want to kill themselves? At this moment, she thought about the floral fragrance she smelled when she came in. It seemed that it came from here. Only seeing their red eyes, they were only attacking her. Obviously someone wanted to kill her, but the floral fragrance was of no use to her and Tanyuj. They were outnumbered, so in order to avoid hurting them, she could only hide. Therefore, the waiter used a dagger to scratch his body a lot. Tanyuj wanted to help but was pinned down by several people. "Master, what's going on? Are they possessed by ghosts?" he shouted. Mukinjian knocked Yinkinja and Yu Ching unconscious directly. "We can't hurt anyone, so we'll knock them all out." He immediately turned over, pressed Zhang Xingrui under him, and knocked him unconscious. He also nimbly knocked out other students. Looking at his classmates, he felt extremely tired. What's going on? The service guy who was just fine just now came and became as crazy as him. The waiter took out a black thing from his pocket, swallowed it, hugged Mukinjian tightly and pushed her out of the window. The glass was smashed by Mukinjian, and the moment the two fell from the 9th floor, it exploded. Bang! The huge explosion shook and shattered all the nearby glass. Tanyuj lay on the ground and stared at the scene in front of him stupidly. He didn't care about his injuries at all and crawled over. Looking at Mukinjian disappearing in the sky, she shouted sadly, "Master!" The people in the Huang Club were stunned by the sudden explosion. Countless people were injured from the 9th floor to the 6th floor, causing heavy casualties. The crowd passing by downstairs was so frightened that they ran around, shouting and screaming. Many people were scratched and injured by the glass and died. Within a moment, blood fell like a drizzle, and some of the people below were splashed with blood drops. "Ah, what is this?" Everyone touched the red water on their faces, looking confused. One of the girls looked at her hands tremblingly and said, "The blood is human blood." When people nearby heard that it was human blood, some people vomited directly. Because the explosion was so serious, countless injured people lay on the ground. Not to mention the people in the Huang Club, they were also extremely miserable. The explosion dispatched all firefighters, ambulances, and SWAT officers, and shocked everyone above. Reporters from major media rushed to the scene, looking at the countless injured people on the ground, and filming this miserable scene. Medical staff kept loading the injured people on the ground into ambulances, and firefighters and special police officers entered the Xianhuan Club to rescue people. Countless injured and dead people were rescued, and the tragic scene made everyone very sad. A female reporter sadly reported, "Hello everyone, we are currently reporting near the Huang Club. This explosion caused countless injuries, and the death toll has not yet been determined. According to information provided by people nearby, the explosion was caused by the Huang Club. There were many people coming to the Huang Club today, and the staff provided information. Among them, number 966 on the 9th floor contained Class F-35 of the Imperial Capital's Imperial Academy. The student's life and death are unknown now." This live broadcast shocked the bloggers and Mr. Bo who were watching. "Old man. Isn't this Xiao Yan's class?" Lao Bo picked up his mobile phone and quickly dialed Mukinjian's number, but it showed that he could not connect. He looked pale. "You keep an eye on Xiao at home, I'll go to the scene." By the time Bo Lao arrived at the scene, Bo Yi, who was nearby, got the news from Bo's mother and rushed over first. When he wanted to enter the Huang Club, he was stopped by the police. "Rescue is underway. You can't get close now. Please leave here." Bo Yi rushed in directly. "Get out of the way, I'm looking for someone, don't block me." He quickly climbed to the 9th floor and looked at the crooked box number 966. The door was already broken. When he walked in, it was a mess. Dozens of people were lying on the ground, each with blood stains on the corners of their mouths, lying motionless on the ground. The police officer following him was dumbfounded and looked at the scene tremblingly. Bo Yi looked at each one in panic. When he saw Yang Qinjia and Zhang Xingrui, he panicked completely. The whole person sat on the ground. What the happened? End of this chapter. The contemporary academic god is secretly a charlatan. Author, Luo Meyer. Chapter 100. Chapter 100. The disappearance of Mu Qinjian. Bo Yi saw a man covered in blood moving in front of him and walked over quickly. When he saw it was Tang Yuge, he quickly picked him up. What happened to Ech? Where is Xiao Yan? She went there. Tang Yuge slowly opened his eyes and pointed out the window in pain. Tears flowed down. Gone, gone. Bo Yi couldn't understand what he said. What does it mean to be gone? What does it mean to be gone? Soon the rescue team arrived at the scene, looked at the people everywhere, and quickly rescued them. Lao Yin and Lao Zhang rushed to the scene and looked around for people from Class F. When all floors had been rescued and only the people on the 9th floor were left, dozens of rescue teams hurriedly carried people down. The reporter immediately asked, "Is this a classmate from Class F of the Imperial Phoenix Academy, the first capital of the Imperial capital?" The rescuer roared, "Yes, don't block the road, the medical staff will come to save people quickly." Old Man Yin and Old Man Zhang ran over immediately and looked at their children. Lao Yin took Yang Qinjia's hand. "What's wrong with my granddaughter? Medical staff, come and save her." Lao Zhang looked at Zhang Xingrui. "Xiao Rui, wake up. I am Grandpa." Lao Bo saw them all unconscious, but he did not see his granddaughter. When he saw Boyi carrying the injured Tang Yuge on his back, "Xiaoi, is Xiaoji okay? Where is Xiao Yan? Have you seen her?" Bo Yi shook his head and put the unconscious man on the ambulance frame. "Dad, couldn't find Xiao Yan. He only saw Tang Yuge and the others." Han Yexuan, who was practicing early, suddenly couldn't feel Mu Qinjian's life breath and hurried over. At this moment, he came to Tang Yuge's side and fed him a medicinal pill, and he woke up quickly. Han Yexuan said indifferently, "What happened? Where is Jing-er?" "She went there." He looked at them sadly. "Master is gone. She fell from the 9th floor and exploded instantly. I didn't see her anymore. The waiter suddenly went crazy and stabbed Master. Then the students also went crazy and wanted to kill Master. He knocked him unconscious. As a result, the waiter swallowed something black and committed suicide while holding the Master in his arms." Bo Lao instantly lost his balance, and Boyi quickly supported him. "Dad, Xiao Yan will be fine." Han Yexuan, who learned the truth, naturally would not believe that Mu Qinjian was dead. "I will find her, Grandpa Bo, and Qing-er will be fine." Bo Lao looked at him and said, "Xiaoi, go and call out the surveillance cameras near the Huang Huang Club. Let me see who wants to kill Xiao Yan." "Okay, I understand, Dad." Several people came to the monitoring room and observed the monitoring. Tang Yuge saw the male waiter, pointed at the screen and said, "That's him." He suddenly went crazy and wanted to kill the Master. Han Yexuan saw the last surveillance camera shot. A woman bumped into the waiter, and he saw his eyes suddenly turn red. "Make that woman's face bigger." Bo Yi immediately did as he was told and zoomed in on the woman's face. "It's her, Sister Ling-er." Han Yexuan understood now and immediately left the surveillance scene. Dandan and Bingfeng also suddenly discovered that they had lost contact with Mu Qinjian and could not enter the space. They instantly knew that something had happened to their master. When he asked Dark Flame to rush to Bo's house and confirm that they were still there, he knew that her life was not in danger and she had just disappeared. Mo Linger had already pretended to be uncomfortable and left early with Mo Ching Cheng. Now she is lying on the bed and watching the live video on her mobile phone with a successful look on her face. "It's better to die, let's see if you still dare to compete with me for the leading role." She, Mu Qinjian, is worthy of competing with her for the male lead. but she spent 90% of her points to exchange for a miniature explosive bomb. Even if she is a cultivator, she will not escape death. She will have the final say in this world without her. Thinking about this, she could no longer control her laughter. Han Yexuan appeared in the room and saw the ugly woman in front of him smiling. He knew it was her who did it. She was indeed not simple. Mo Linger was so frightened when she saw the mysterious man suddenly appearing that she dropped her phone on the bed. "It's you, why are you coming to my place?" He approached her step by step. "You can do everything today." Mo Linger shook her head in fear. "Mr. Han, I don't know what you are talking about or what I did today." Han Yeshuan reached out and grabbed her neck, lifted her up, and said in a very cold voice, "The surveillance shows that you were the last person to contact the male waiter. You said it had nothing to do with you. Do you think I believe it?" Mo Linger grabbed his hand and struggled desperately. "I don't know, what are you talking about? I didn't." Mo Ching Cheng entered the room and saw this scene, and quickly attacked him. "What are you doing?" Han Yexuan dodged and threw Mo Linger away. "You won't be so lucky next time." If Tiandao hadn't suddenly discovered him, he would have killed her. And this person named Mo Ching Cheng is actually the person that the heaven in this world must protect. So just when he was about to kill them, the law of heaven was about to drive him away. Mo Ching Cheng helped her up. "Why did you offend him? Why did he want to kill you?" Mo Linger cried and threw herself into his arms, trembling. "Cheng, I'm so scared. I don't know why he killed me. I have never offended anyone." He held her and comforted her. "I understand. I will investigate clearly. You should have a good rest first." Sitting on the bed, she touched her neck unwillingly. This man actually knew that he did it, but she didn't leave any traces. She said she knew it by just bumping into the male waiter. "I believe Mo Ching Cheng and everyone else won't believe it, so she can rest assured." When Han Yexuan left, let An Yan stay with Mo Linger. Monitor her every minute and report anything unusual immediately. This woman is definitely not a normal person, she must have something mysterious. The people in Class F have been unconscious all this time, and all the doctors have no idea why this is happening. Old Man Zhang knew that this incident was definitely not caused by an ordinary explosion. After all of them were only scratched by the glass. There were no internal injuries at all, so it was definitely not caused by humans or the explosion. It was definitely caused by an expert. Only the Han family is good at this, and they immediately invited Mr. Han to come over. Lao Han shook his head helplessly. "I can't find out why they are unconscious, but there is one person who should be able to. I will call him over for you, and he should be able to save them." When they saw it was Han Yexuan, they were a little surprised. "Isn't he Mu Yetu's fiancé?" Han Yexuan looked at the 33 unconscious students and smelled a familiar floral fragrance on them. "This is the smell of fantasy heart grass when refined with magic soul grass. This spiritual grass will make people fall into nightmares. They will obey the command of the person who drugged them and will not stop until they die. You go to Yeqing Group to buy these medicinal herbs and let Mr. Han refine them to save them." He wrote quickly and left the hospital anxiously. After all, he still wanted to find Mu Qingjian's whereabouts. End of this chapter.